and on the water when you explore your next getaway at crushingonfall.com. That's crushingonfall.com.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out.
Believe it.
Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. A little Monica like this to get us going here tonight from her first album, Miss Thang, featuring Mr. Malik from Illegal. This was my jam back in the day. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on the show that covers all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I, of course, am your host, Jill Munroe. Welcome in, VIPs. As the station says, we have a lot to talk about. We have a bunch of topics to get into tonight. So I hope you are relaxed. I hope that you are hydrated. If not, get a beverage, maybe a libation. It's Thursday. Why not? And get ready to get into these trending topics and headlines and have a good time. So let me let you know what is on the agenda for this Thursday night. So first up, there's a reason why Monica was our intro music tonight. Andy is always on point. Always. The themes connect. Monica has come out and said that she's underrated. She feels a little overlooked as far as R&B. This isn't the first time that she said this, so we're going to get into that. We're going to take a little retrospective look at Monica's career and see if she's right. And, get your opinion on what you think about that. We are also going to discuss Nene Leakes, the former Real Housewife, was being very vulnerable on her YouTube channel and talking about, life after the death of her husband, Greg, and, wanting companionship and some of the reasons why she would consider getting married again. Oh, love is on the list, but it wasn't the driving factor. We're going to get into that in hour 2. And yes, Worthy, Jada Pinkett-Smith's novel is coming out soon. So the Tupac conversation, the Jada and Will Smith conversation, those will not cease. So we're going to talk about some more comments Jada made about Tupac being her soulmate. She answers some questions that have come up. We're also going to take a look back at some of the hints that have been dropped all along that say, once again, like I said before, Jada and Will told you guys they were separated. But you just heard what you want. So we're going to get into that. We are also going to have in the third hour an interview with the owner of a popular Instagram blog. Her name is Tasha. The blog is Official Wags Unfiltered. Wags is Wives and Girlfriends of Sports Stars. So she talks with a lot of the athletes, a lot of their girlfriends, and there's a lot of drama over there. So we're going to get into her story, how she got into it, some of the commentary that she has on the bigger stories. We do talk about domestic violence and professional athletes and her opinion, how she gets the tea. You be surprised, maybe not. A lot of the wives are dropping their own tea. So she shares that with us, and we're going to talk about that. We are also going to get into that burner boy story that I've been trying to get to all week, but I think it's important, and that's why I keep putting it back on the agenda, because it's something to talk about, and it relates to something that we get into with my interview with Tasha about Terrell Owens. So you can check that out in the third hour. Now, let me remind you, if at any point you want to check in, you can feel free to hit the lines, 800-920-1580. You can also reach out to us on social media. We are KBLA 1580 everywhere. Me personally, I'm at Stiletto Jill. Hit me up, say hi. We love that. Also, download the app. Take us with you on the go. Listen at your convenience. We appreciate those listens as well. So take care of that. And, as always, there's a couple of conversation starters that we want to get into before we get into our main stories of the evening. So first of all, we've been talking about Taylor Swift and Beyonce, their tours, their concert films, so forth. Well, the premiere for Taylor's Eras Tour was Wednesday night in Los Angeles at the Grove. They said they had to shut down everything around the Grove, traffic. They were worried about foot traffic of fans trying to show up. All the stores had to kind of close. It was all about Taylor. Well, a star showed up there, a bigger star. And that was Beyonce. Beyonce showed up for Taylor's premiere. She looked cute, donned her little 3D glasses, and sat next to Taylor. It was really sweet. B is a supportive friend. Beyonce is also smart, which is what I say, because now she's commandeering some of Taylor's audience, right? And they have to pay attention to her too. And maybe they're more likely to share in the experience and buy Beyonce tickets too. Well, Taylor left this message on her Instagram. She said, "I'm so glad I'll never know what my life would be like without Beyonce's influence. The way she taught me and every artist out here to break rules and defy industry norms. Her generosity of spirit, her resilience, and versatility. She's been a guiding light throughout my career, and the fact that she showed up tonight was like an actual fairy tale." So they're playing nice, and they are capitalizing on each other, and I think it's smart. Girl power, the top two women. Although I think overall in sales, I think Beyonce's running that. I don't know, but we appreciate them both. Are you going to check out Taylor Swift's movie? I want to. I want to see what the hype's all about. I can't judge on the outside. Like I said, there's a couple of songs I'm like, oh, that's a bop, but we'll have to see. When we come forward, we'll get into these trending topics and headlines. We're going to dive into Monica's career and see, is she underrated? Is she looking for sympathy? We're going to talk about all of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
Walk to save lives. Join the American Heart Association's Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Sunday, October 22nd at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Team up with friends and family and walk to end heart and stroke. Every step you take and every dollar raised will help save lives and make our community a healthier place for all. Learn more and sign up for free at heartwalkla.org. Sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Providence, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions.
South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you. Welcome in. So listen, before we get into the headlines, I have to acknowledge the passing of one of the founding members of the Isley Brothers. Rudolph Isley passed away Wednesday in Illinois, per TMZ, and the cause of his death is unclear, but one person involved revealed to TMZ that they believe that he suffered a heart attack. Unfortunately, at the time of his death, he and his brother Ronald were at odds. And the reason being is that back in March, Rudolph sued Ronald for filing the Isley Brothers trademark solely in his name. They started the group together back in the 50s. Rudolph accused him of basically cutting him out of band opportunities with the group. Rudolph left the group in the late 80s, but he's continuously over the years worked with his brothers off and on, and he's also been credited, again, as one of the founders, which he was. So in August, a judge refused Ronald's request to have the lawsuit dropped, but unfortunately, before the matter was settled, he passed away. So we are sending prayers out to the Isley family. I hope that there was some sort of resolution and that they are, in peace. The Isley brothers are legends. The fact that they have a 70-year career is unheard of. It's amazing. Also, in other news, we also have to mention that Diddy, he's continuing on his love tour to show out, to get you to pay attention to his new album, Love Off the Grid. He released a new video. He's working with Tiana Taylor, and we know Tiana Taylor directed his single with Bryson Tiller that came out last year, so he has her again on this one, and the song is called Closer to God. It's a beautiful visual. Go check it out. It's on Instagram. They're like in the desert. Tiana's dressed up like a sun goddess. I'm telling you, I love her. The Aunties brand, that is her directorial production company, and her creative director work with different artists. I think she may have actually really found her calling, so that is exciting, at least to me. We like to see artists be able to grow and evolve, especially in this industry. We know it's cutthroat and you could get cast to the side at any minute. And luckily, that is not something that seems to be in Miss Taylor's future. Okay, so before we discuss Monica and her comments about potentially being underrated by the world at hand, I want to get into this Burner Boy topic because I think it's important, and I think that it is related to the Terrell Owens topic, which we discussed earlier in the week, about Terrell saying that black girls made fun of him, and so it caused him to, date other races, including white women, and there was a period of time where he felt a type of way, but now he's just vibes, and doesn't matter your race as long as you connect. Well, Burner Boy said that he's experienced something similar, but his approach to it is vastly different in some ways, and he also doesn't seem to blame the whole race of women that might have been, well, should I say, he's not blaming a whole race of women for what a few did. But let's listen to what he had to say.
The intro to City Boys is the audio from J Huss's Instagram stories.
I'm not even an ugly you. I'm a sexy you, you understand?
What made you go with this as the intro?
Because I feel like he was speaking for all of us Black African boys. There was a time in life when we weren't popping. You had to be a light-skinned boy. Did you not have Chris Brown on your list?
I used to love that man.
Let's be real. We weren't popping.
Yeah.
We were getting called all types of names. It is what it is, you know, because now...
Gal all over the globe.
J Hus called himself Mr. Ugly.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
But there was a reason for that.
Right.
That was the view of that society had of us.
Mm-hmm.
The whole narrative has changed.
Of course.
And it's like we're not looking in the mirror like,
Actually...
So the whole time, they were trying to finesse us. We've always known our worth. It's everyone else that didn't. And then someone keeps telling you something, even if you know it's not true.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that they keep telling you it's in your head. Whether you accept it or not, it's like it's still in your head. Now it's about you accepting it or not.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to be strong like that.
I hear it.
So, I mean, he makes a good point. It is not easy to be strong and to love yourself in the face of people throwing darts and arrows at you. And again, we have our thoughts and sympathies with Terrell to a degree, at least for me. But I'm not invalidating his experience at all. I just think that, you know, I don't believe that there's absolutely no Black women that found him attractive at that time period, especially that he was an athlete. And, you know, I bring that up because he was recently on an Instagram Live with my guest for later, Tasha, and another person that we've had on the show, Miko Grimes, and he brought up the subject of attraction, which is something that I mentioned when we were having this conversation. And he talked about wanting to be sure that he was attracted to his mate. And to me, that is something that I talked about. I'm sure that there was a Black woman that was attracted to him that he didn't find physically attractive. And again, I'm not saying that you have to make exceptions, but you are taking something out on the entirety of women because somehow men have the expectation sometimes that because they're a good guy or a nice guy, they should be entitled to the best of the best. They don't consider their circumstance or their lot either, but they expect women to. So that's just my quick thought on that. Andy, you look like you got something to say.
Nothing too crazy.
Okay.
I just, you know, at the same time, I also do think that he didn't talk to every single Black girl that was even available. You know what I mean? Like, come on now, like, let's say a school, right? You have 100 people, 50 boys, 50 girls. It's not like he hollered at all 50. I don't believe that aspect. So, you know, it might have been 2 or 3 that said no, and it hurt him so much to where, you know, all Black women are like that. So,
and I feel like, again, I am not unsympathetic to people can be cruel. And I have no doubt that he might have heard some really, really, you know, mean and nasty things that, you know, rocked him to his core. We don't know what his mental state was. There were other things that were happening at the time. So I think that's fair. But just like I also bring up, I know that there were probably some Black men that had jokes, were calling him names and whatever, but that didn't stop him from having male friendships and bonding with Black men and having friendships with those men. He somehow could see that individuals may have said that, but overall, he was able to make those connections. And 2, you know, there are white women that accused him of fraud. The woman that he married briefly, there was a situation with that. And somehow he didn't manage to put those thoughts all around to, you know, other white women. He could separate. And so that's all I'm saying. It's like, I believe that you were hurt, but somehow you were able to disassociate some of that when it comes to a man in friendship or other races. And so that's all I'm saying, you know. Much love to Terrell Owens, and I hope he finds love in whatever form and fashion it comes, and I'm glad that he has evolved from that point. He even mentioned getting on his Instagram and having an Instagram live with a therapist. So he has talked to therapists, and, it's something that he is, as far as self-worth issues, which is what this, ties to. It's something that he has worked through. So I appreciate that. And again, much love and peace to him. We don't mean him any harm. We appreciate him. Is it time for a break? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I couldn't remember. We did take a break, though, so that's good. All right. Now that we've touched on that, because I've wanted to address that, I wanted to talk about that. And there was a guy, I can't remember his name now, that left some comments on that video that was like on me, on my head, telling me that I was invalidating Terrell's feelings, and that as a black woman, even if his response to that, I should have been like, I understand you, black man. I love you, black man, and some other stuff. And I was like, why I gotta coddle him? I support him, but why I gotta coddle him? Anyway, we appreciate you leaving comments and dropping your thoughts off always, no matter what side you lay on with these issues. So let's talk singer Monica. We know Monica made her debut in, I think it was 95, I believe, 94, 95. Okay, and with the Miss Thang album. She came in slamming, right? Yep, July of 1995. We were introduced to her, sassy little thing. Some people felt, that the first single, just one of them days, that she was singing about her cycle. She was not. She was just singing about being in a mood. But anyway, whatever the case may be, people fell in love with Monica. And then, eventually there was the thing, who do you like, Monica or Brandy? We always got to have a competition. We can't just let people be in their own right. We always have to be like, no, you got to pick. You got to pick. I don't feel like I have to pick unless I want to, but that's just me. At any rate, Monica recently was speaking out, and she said that, she believes that as an artist, she's been underrated. So let's hear her comments.
I'm actually a person that for all the records I've broken, I really have never won any awards. I'm really the most forgotten. If you think about it, I'm pretty much the underdog, but I sit very comfortably in it because I can still go where I want, do what I want, live how I want. But when I say that I am often forgotten, I was hosting the Soul Train Awards, was nominated for 5, 3 of my songs in one category, and still lost. But I went out to eat and kicked my regular after. I was not bothered because that's not what I do it for.
That's dope.
That is really my point when I say that oftentimes I'm forgotten in those spaces.
So, it's an interesting point. I don't know what my thought is, because oftentimes those things too, we know that it's political at times. We know that it also depends on the year. Sometimes some years it's just like, yikes, people are going to start canceling each other out. And this isn't the first time that Monica has spoken on this. In 2021, she said, I've always bared my soul and was transparent, which I catch a lot of flack for all the time, but I'm still cool with it because if I don't do anything else, I'm going to be me to the death of me. She said she don't think that one red coin, one red cent, one award, none of this stuff around me or amongst me keeps me at peace. None of it holds me at night. None of it dries my tears. None of it. So when I tap out, I apologize to y'all, but I tap out because I'm human. She says that you'll be surprised what people gave up to get to the top. I got calls, but I knew what people were sacrificing to do what they were doing, and I didn't want to sacrifice that. But I've been watching it all my life, and it's a choice for me to be able to do what I do in a sound mind. So one aspect of it is she's saying that she didn't want to make the sacrifices that some people made. We don't know what she is saying that those sacrifices were, but they were too steep in her opinion, whatever that may be. But is Monica an artist that you think doesn't get her flowers? She doesn't get her just due. So I looked up the numbers. I'm like, let's look up the numbers. Let's look up the awards, right? So she is right. Monica's only received 1 Grammy Award, and that was for The Boy Is Mine. And obviously she shared that as a single with Brandy, right? So she's released 8 studio albums. First album, like we said, Miss Thang, it reached 36 on the U.S. Billboard 200 and 7 on the top R&B charts. To date, it sold about 1.5 million copies, right? And, well, I think that was the single. let's see. Okay, no. It was later certified triple platinum. So it did eventually make it to triple platinum. And it produced 3 top 10 singles, including Don't Take It Personal, Before You Walk Out of My Life, i.e. the shoe video. And what was the last single from that first one? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, Like This. We just played it. Was that there wasn't another single that charted, though? I thought there might have been. I don't know. Like This was like my jam. I don't know if that kind of crossed over for her like the other two did. But that was really, a hip-hop song. Illegal was,
Why I Love You So Much.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So while Like This, that was the 4th single, Why I Love You So Much was the, those were the top 3 that made it into the top 10. So it did okay. That's a nice debut album, right? It earned her an American Music Award nomination for Favorite Soul R&B Album. She didn't win. The Boy Is Mine was released later that year in 96. That's her top selling album. It initially dropped, sold over 2 million copies. By June of 2000, it was triple platinum. And it had 2 number 1 hits, The First Night and Angel of Mine, in addition to The Boy Is Mine, which, that was split on both she and Brandy's album. 2003, After the Storm, that is her highest debuting album. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. And it eventually sold gold. By now, it is platinum. But again, with each album, we peaked with Boy Is Mine, and now we're starting to head in the other direction. Not that sales mean everything, just as far as where we are, right? So anyway, she released after that, Still Standing. That did not go platinum. It is almost gold currently. That's the one that had So Gone on it. Then she released, what was after Still Standing? Wait, Still Standing, did that add the Snap song? No, that was the next one where she kind of went snap. But suffice it to say, Being Real, what was it called? Put It on the Floor or whatever? No, I'm thinking a Lotto. Girl. They're running together. But the point is, like, as far as numbers wise, she's a cultural phenomenon. We love Monica. We love what she bought. But the sales numbers aren't there. So the fact that she's still around, still relevant, almost 30 years later, I feel is an incredible thing. Like, I think that we go overboard sometimes with expecting celebrities, singers, artists to all be superstars. Everybody can't be a superstar. It's unrealistic. And that doesn't mean that you don't have an amazing career, a solid career, someone that people value, love, support, and are there for. I think that we got to get real sometimes with what we're looking for and the expectations for our celebrities, for our athletes, for people in general. When we come forward, we'll look at more in Monica's career. Of course, more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The former sheriff of Granville County in North Carolina has pleaded guilty to additional charges of corruption. During an arraignment hearing, former Sheriff Brendell Wilkins, who was already serving time in prison for falsifying training records, pleaded guilty to 4 felony violations and 2 misdemeanors, including an alleged plot in 2014 to have a black sheriff's deputy killed. As part of the plea agreement, Wilkins will have about 6 months added to his current 18-month sentence. The Missouri Supreme Court has agreed to hear a discrimination case involving workers at a now closed Harley-Davidson plant in North Kansas City. The lawsuit was filed 8 days before the plant closed 4 years ago and alleges that mostly black workers who were employed by a contractor were treated unfairly by people who worked directly for Harley-Davidson. The plaintiffs argue that the vast majority of employees were white and created a hostile work environment for the contract workers, most of whom were black. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Grab your crush and head to Sheraton San Diego Hotel and Marina for a boat picnic of champagne and charcuterie in the heart of the harbor. Love is in the air and on the water when you explore your next getaway at crushingonfall.com. That's crushingonfall.com.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home.
Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cnb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer, and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, that is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically Black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
That guitar is kind of Isley Brother-esque.
I didn't ask to go with you to Mexico. I really didn't need the shopping spree in LA on Melrose. Boy, if you didn't know it, well now you know. I didn't need the furs or the jewelry, because material things that don't mean much to me.
This was the era of the athlete video vixen. This was the video that had her future husband in it, Shannon Brown. But this was the time when Chad Ochocinco, actually Terrell Owens was one of the early ones to drop in videos. I think he was in like Kelly Price's video back in like 98, 99. Before there was another football player, I think named Robert Smith. It was kind of the thing where athletes would pop up and get their model on, and it started to showcase them in a different way. Do you remember that?
I do. Rest in peace to the homie Kobe.
He was in Bugaboo.
You already know.
Of course I already. Listen, Kobe was in Bugaboo. Kobe was in Brian McKnight's Hold Me video. They filmed that video in Palisades, and part of it was filmed at Brian's house, and Kobe was spitting. I don't care what you say. He was spitting on that Brian McKnight track. My love's a sword, slicing gently through your body. Anyway, don't get me started on that. There was a moment. I was like, maybe Kobe, maybe. Nah. I remember he did this show because Kobe had a label deal with Epic for a small amount of time. Excuse me. This was Jesus. This was like in about 2000. And he had a showcase at the House of Blues here in LA with like his different acts, and he came out in his Rockaware baby blue suit and he was still with Adidas, and it was crazy. Like he was on stage rapping, and it was like a concert. There's a lot happening. And low key, I know you guys are going to slam me for this thought. Low on the lowest of keys, that single that he and Tyra had, it was a bop. Kobeilove. Look, you can say what you want. I don't think that Kobe should have been a rapper, per se. I don't think he should have carried that out, but I think that, he takes a lot of flack for that time period, and some of that stuff was hitting.
It was. Don't make him start rapping in Italian.
Right. That would listen, that was fly. I know people spit that, but it wasn't just that he was rapping and the translation made sense. Come on now. And he was smooth. So whatever. Again, I'm not saying he should have been what Dame Lillard is now, but he and Shaq and a couple others, Cedric Ceballos.
Feel me flow.
I worked on that project.
Dang, like that, huh?
I worked on that project. It was Immortal Records. I was an intern. Yeah. Flo, let me tell you, I was an intern. I hand wrote the lyrics off of a DAT tape to those songs and turned them in. We had this is why, honestly, random side note, y'all. I wanted to work. I knew that there was a possibility for a fusion of entertainment and sports, so to speak, because I worked on that project. It was called B-Ball's Best Kept Secret. The owner of it was Immortal Records. They had a management side that managed, I'm blanking on the name of the management company at the time, but they managed Eric Sermon, Keith Murray, we had them there. The label not only had this basketball project that was put together by this guy named James Andrews. He eventually went on to work at Columbia, and I was his intern. He's actually Shamar Moore's cousin. I know this is random as heck, but I remember walking into the office, and Shamar Moore was standing there, and this is before he debuted on Young and the Restless, and I was like, oh my God, who is this beautiful man? And James was like, that's my cousin. He's gonna be on Young and the Restless. Make sure you tell your friends. And so random running into Shamar Moore. But anyway, this project, Happy Walters, he later became an agent. He was Amari Stoudemire's agent, all of these things. He loved hoops and he wanted to combine it. It was the first time we were the first to kind of pair with a video game company. James went to school with a guy who worked at EA Sports named Glenn Chen. He was responsible. It's not 2K. What was the video game, the Hoops video game in the mid-90s? I'm going to think of it, and I'm going to tell y'all. Because, I'm not the video game girl.
NBA Live.
NBA Live. So this was the early versions of NBA Live. Jason Kidd was also on this album. It was his rookie season. And for our party, we had it at Jerry's Deli that used to be like across the street from the Beverly Center if you're from LA. And we turned the back room into like a locker room. We brought in all of these big screen TVs. Mind you, this is before flat screens. And we had the video game, and this guy Glenn did a special version of the video game, and because at that time rookies weren't in the video games, and they made a special version of it, and they put Jason Kidd in, and so we had them playing video games at this thing. Jada Pinkett-Smith was there, and a bunch of other people. So that is random as heck. The album is called B-Ball's Best Kept Secret. There's some questionable rapping on there, and there's some decent one. Shaq is on there, too, with the Fushnikins. Who else? Dana Barrows, Gary Payton. I can't remember who else, but I worked on that project.
Was C-Web on there?
No, because C-Web had not started rapping and doing all of that yet. That came probably later 90s, early 2000s when everybody wanted a record label. So it was he wasn't quite there yet. Didn't really, because outside of it was considered, it was frowned upon. We weren't there yet. Like now, how Damian Lillard can put out an album, it go platinum, it's part of the mix, he has video. That wasn't acceptable in the 90s. The things that we see happening with athletes and how they're able to branch out and tap into other areas, they weren't available to them at that time period. And it was frowned upon. So, you look like you're deep in thought, Andy.
Oh, no.
Okay. Tony Yayo in the chat says, was Jim Jackson in any Tony Braxton videos? No, he was not. They have both disputed that relationship time and time again. They said they were kind of friends, or he was going to ask her out, but then Jason came and swooped through or whatever. I think there's a little truth to it, but maybe not the way that it came out. But, that was those Dallas days when they were the Triple J. It was Jimmy Jackson, Jason Kidd, and Jamal Mashburn. Don't tell me I don't know my hoops history. We didn't even know that was going to come up tonight. Don't play with me. At any rate, we could go back to Monica, because here's the thing. Her husband, Shannon Brown, played for the Los Angeles Lakers. She met him on that video shoot at that time. Shannon was hot in those streets. Everybody was like, oh, he kind of looks like Chris Brown. Who's this young Laker that can dunk? And he was hot and in high pursuit of. And Monica came and swooped up that young thing. And then a couple years later, just didn't work. But that's the biz, right? So, Andy, I want to ask you, do you think Monica is underrated? Because in a way, like, I was looking at the numbers, I went back and I looked at the women that came out during that period. So obviously Brandy, her, Aaliyah, you could throw Maya in that mix around that time frame, even though she came on the latter end in, I think, like 98, 2000. But by album sales, Brandy's number one, right? Aaliyah's number two. Brandy's number one with 8.5 million. This was about 4 years ago, the most recent things that I found that were comparing them all. Aaliyah was about 8.1 million. I'm sure all of these numbers are higher now. Monica was about 5.3 million, and Maya was at about 3.2 million. So,
that's kind of tough. I mean, if you was an R&B fan during them times, I feel like every artist low-key kind of stood out. Right?
Individually.
Right. And I mean, they were all individually dope. I can understand Brandy. She was kind of, it's kind of safe to say she was the first of her kind. You know what I'm saying? Solo, youthful. I mean, it also did help.
Sweet girl next door, yeah.
I mean, it did help that Moesha was popping as well, too. You know what I'm saying? She was in her acting bag or whatnot. But in my opinion, I'm not going to say that Monica was underrated at all, because why else was people pitting her up against Brandy?
Exactly. I just think that, one, she was with Clive and Arista. So Clive very much, I feel like, for that second album, did what Clive Davis does and makes women into pop divas, right? We've seen him do it before. that was the album where, even though it started a fashion trend, she was covering up her arm tattoo, and everybody was like, ooh, Monica's fast. Is she doing, so that stuff mattered kind of more than, think about that. Can you imagine an artist covering up their tattoo in this, like, how would they even, at this point, head to toe blasted,
right.
Body marked up like a subway in Harlem.
Call them.
You like that song, right?
That's my jam.
You like that,
Wayne
right?
ripped that joint.
Do you remember? Well, this is a side talk. There's a guy, I think he was from Phoenix or something, that had that. He made a song of that too. I think he sampled Lil Wayne, and
You ain't talking about Hot Rod or whatever, man. He was signed to G-Unit.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
But anyway, I think that Monica, I don't want to call her underrated, but then when you look at the times that she's only won one Grammy, not even really nominated that much. She's won, on the other side of that, to her point, she has been nominated for BET and Soul Train Awards. Not as many. Has won some, but has been shut out. I just,
See, that's why you said it earlier. When it comes to these award shows, it's a political game. And sometimes you can't put too much weight on these award shows. A couple years ago, didn't Macklemore beat Kendrick for hip hop album of the? Come on now. So, Monica was like Mary J. Blige kind of sort.
Right. She was
music,
like a younger version of Mary. Yep.
You can feel that. Don't take it personal. That to me was transcendent. You know what I mean? Like, you could feel her music, and honestly, that's what kind of made her different from other artists, right? Like you said, Brandy, she was like the goody two-shoes, sweet, kind.
Hey. We know Brandy. Brandy,
No,
I know. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I'm
I know
not saying
people do that
in a negative way. She
it was a different. It felt like suburban girl.
Thank you.
And round the way girl.
Absolutely, that's what you got. Aaliyah was unique, and I can't even describe Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, I felt like, was tomboy chic. Like, when you think about the early 90s, when she dropped in 93, right? There was a handful of groups that had, people always like, oh, Aaliyah credited. Like, Aaliyah fans, don't come get me, okay? I loved Aaliyah. Every album, I supported her. I worked on her last album. Don't come get me. But in early 90s, that was the look. That was the look of the girls as far as fashion-wise on the street. That was the look of girls in the group like Straight Ahead. That was BBD's backup dancers. There was a group from LA called YNV. They were on Motown. Okay. Same type of thing. The rapper MC Smooth. Mm-hmm. Same type of, baggy jeans, bodysuits, tomboy thing. So I feel like that was the look of the era, but she also had the music, because of
Timbo.
I'm talking about from the very beginning.
Oh, okay.
She always had, because you think about this, something I think people forget. Each one of Aaliyah's albums, though they were all on black ground, they were released on different labels. The first album was Jive, the second album was Atlantic, and the third album was Virgin Records. So there were different systems that were happening behind the scenes, different labels with different agendas, different divisions that she was involved in. Jive was an interesting place to be. She kind of helped set the stage, because you think about it, they at one time had Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. They had a lot of hip hop there. They were building up as far as in the mid to late 90s with their musical acts with Britney, with the NSYNCs and that kind of boy band sort of thing, and turning away from their more urban roots. Not that we don't see and hear that story all the time. So it was an interesting time in music, and I sometimes feel like, and we've talked about this, people rubber stamp the 90s or certain things. Oh, Aaliyah invented the tomboy look. Nobody was doing that. Aaliyah invented the swoop, da-da-da-da. When in reality, that was all the girls' fashion across then. But again, not taking any, because she was fly and the way she carried it out, and she had the music to back it up. So it was a solid package. And, of course, we all appreciate that. When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines, more on this music stuff. We love it. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Susan G. G. Komen. We believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. By the way, Andy, I remembered who the artist was that made the song Body Marked Up in the Subway in Harlem. He was Willie North Pole. And listen to it when you get a chance. I like that one song. I don't know if he had any more. I don't think he did anything. But I recalled that, and I liked it. Probably because he lifted that from Wayne. But whatever. It worked for me at the time being. We mentioned Dame Lillard. We also mentioned a few days ago that he has filed for divorce from his wife, Kayla. Well, she has filed for sole custody of the kids. I mean, honestly, I think stuff like this is really a technicality. She said she wants to make sure that the kids have a healthy and amicable relationship with their dad and they're able to see him. But she said the reality is that she has been their primary caretaker since birth, that he has not spent long periods of time with the children without the aid of a nanny or an assistant, and it just makes more sense. I think it does, but it sounds crazy. It sounds, mean, like she's trying to deny him from seeing his children. But according to Kayla, she says that they worked out a temporary parenting schedule in August and September. However, there were issues with both months, so she wants to avoid that. And there's no custody plan in place. And she especially wants to get an agreement put together because the point guard has now been traded, obviously. So, hope they work through that. It'll be fine. So listen, how much would you spend on a new smile? How much are you willing to shell out? well, we know rappers, right? They put it in. They're going to go hard in the paint, especially to show that they have money in other ways. So Lil Yachty, and I'm not talking about a grill, because this isn't a grill. This is like something else. He got 4 huge, I don't even know what the carats are, how many carats are involved in these pieces, right? It's like 2 on the right side of his mouth, 2 huge, like they're huge stones. And then, of course, he has a grill across the bottom. And those 2 huge diamonds, I think there's 2 on each side, or yeah. So there's 2 on the right, 2 on the left. They are, let's see, you have your 2 front teeth, whatever those incisors are, the 2 after that, after the fangs, and then that's where they are. So any of you dental students, or you know what I'm talking about, that's where they are, 2 on each side. $1 million. Why would you put $1 million in your mouth? I'm serious. It's your money, of course. Do what you want. You obviously have it. Why would you put $1 million in your mouth? And then part 2 to that, why would you let people know you put $1 million in your mouth? Now, if somebody tries to I hope you have amazing security, and I hope they stick with you. You know, these people out here are crazy now. They are ruthless. They are in these streets doing dirt, doing harm. And they know at any given time, you could have on no jewelry. It doesn't matter. You have $1 million in your mouth. They might want to try and knock you out and just swoop up with those things and keep that thing moving. I don't know. Again, you could do what you want. It's a choice. It most certainly is. But over time, right? What about the acids in your mouth? What do you think that's going to do to the diamond wear? What do you think that's going to do to your other teeth? What does that do for your health, for your body to have diamonds in whatever setting that they utilize to put it in there? I don't know if it's platinum. I don't know if it's just a silver set with I don't know the dentistry behind it. But what does that do for your health? And how do you clean it? You can't just use regular toothpaste, Crest, Colgate on diamonds, $1 million worth of diamonds. How does that work?
Didn't Lil Uzi Vert implant a diamond on his forehead?
He sure did, and got it moved out not too long, and was having health problems for it. Like, come on. I understand that you guys are weird. You're different. Oh my God, I'm an alternative person. I'm not like the other rappers. I'm a cool rapper. You know what I mean? And you are free to express yourself. I'm not knocking that. I don't have any beef with that. Knock yourself out, but be smart and think about your health. Diamonds in my mouth, diamonds on my grill. Listen, in hour 2, we're going to get into Nene Leakes and her saying that she's, thinking about companionship. This is something for you people that always have something to say about women dying old and alone and lonely. She was married. You never know what's going to happen. We're going to get into that. More trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It don't matter if you're up, matter if you're down. Either way, I'm gonna be around. You should've known that I would stay by your side. You should've known your girl was gonna ride or die. And it just don't matter if you're rich or poor.